Welcome to another session on LibreOffice Base. This session is going to be involve the exam question in the 2017 paper. The only fly in the ointment is that it says in the exam paper, which will be posted in the usual place, gioconda.org.uk. It says use a Microsoft Access database, and of course we're not going to use Microsoft Access. We're going to use LibreOffice Base. That isn't a problem because back in 2016-17, the exam board didn't realize that it is more appropriate to let the school choose which version of a database program they're going to use, rather than restrict it just to Microsoft Access, which isn't a particularly good database program. Okay, so let's continue. Let's start by opening up LibreOffice Base. LibreOffice Base, there we go. Opens up in the normal way of things. Now, we get a screen. It says to us, create a new database, open an existing database, or connect to an existing database. We're going to create a new one as per the question. And now it asks us, well, what do we do when we have when we've created this database? What do you want to do with it? And the first question is, do you want to register it with LibreOffice? And the answer to that invariably is going to be yes. You don't have to, but if you do say yes, it means the whole structure of the database is going to be easy to connect to other LibreOffice programs like Writer and Calc. The bit underneath that says, after the database file has been saved, what do you want to do? And I've ticked all the default is open the database for editing. We try for most people, creating tables using the table wizard is not the best way of doing it. The table wizard gives you some pre-selected tables, and that is useful if you're not sure what you're doing. But since we have been given a brief in the exam paper that specifies the fields we've got to use, specifies their data type and their data type lengths and other things, what appropriate primary keys and so on. Because it's going to be a little bit messy if we use the wizard, we're just going to go and open it for editing. And so we now go down here and you see we can click finish. Well, where are we going to put it? Well, I'm going to put it in this base question, exam question. The first one we did was stock control. So this one, the name for this one is going to be employees. Oh, it does this every time. It expects you to want to. That makes no sense. It irritates me. The name is going to be EMPLOYEES. Employees. So that's the name of our database, and we'll save it. And this is simple screen recorder you see there. That's what I use to record all this stuff. Okay, so now it's opened up, and a little bit irritating for me now is that it just shows the blank thing, the blank screen. Over here we got tables, queries, forms, and reports. Here we've got tasks, and the tasks should be the tasks associated with whatever we're using over here. And later on you'll see they will pop up, but because we're just starting off and it's a blank, when we don't get the tasks will be later. Create a table using a wizard and something else I can't remember. Okay, so we've got to create a table somehow. So we're going to go up here to where it says insert, click on it, and go to table design. And that is where we create our table. And the table has the fields. If you've got the piece of paper, LibreOffice Base exam question 2017, which is on gioconda.org.uk under resources. You will see that the fields we've got to get is staff number, first name, surname, sex, address, salary, department. And we'll start with the first one, which is staff number. Staff underscore BER. Staff number. And it says it's going to be a short text, so this is a bit daft, actually calling it short text, but we're going to do that. There's technical reasons why the paper isn't very good, but I'm not going to go into that now. I'm just going to do as I'm told. The length is going to be 4 characters. That's lovely. That's the staff number. And because it's 4 characters, because it's a staff number, I'm almost certain that I'm going to choose this as the key field. We'll have to look and see what the other things. Key fields are the fields that, are the important ones that identify that record. And they must be unique. And usually they're a number. Not always, but usually they are. In fact, although it calls it staff number here, if you look at the later on when it asks you to enter the details, it's actually a set of characters. But there we are. Right, staff number. The next one is first name. And I like to keep things consistent. So I'm going to type in FIR, first underscore NAME, first name. So that is the same as the one above. And the annoying thing about the exam question, it has first with a capital letter, it has a space instead of a underscore, and it has a small n for name. So it's totally inconsistent in the first two fields. Very poor question. Okay, so let's click on this, but it does say it wants it to be 15 characters long. Always got to be careful when you're choosing length. First names. Does anyone have a first name of 15 characters? Or more? I wouldn't have thought so, but you never know. I would have kept it as an open length, and this here is 100. Okay, so we're going to set that to 15 because that's what they tell us to do. And then they've got surname. And now surname, I would almost certainly expect to find 1 or 2 surnames of more than 15 characters, but they don't think so. So we're going to go down here where it says length, rub it out and put 15 in. The next one is sex, SEX, and I am going to choose a fixed length of 1. And if I was doing this for real, in the description column here, I'd put capital M or capital F. No lowercase stuff. Because I want to keep it consistent, as consistent as possible. The next one is address. Now, this is an interesting one. Address. It wants it to be a memo field. So you have to click here. And essentially, it's a mixture of text. Well, it's basically text, but it's in a position, and I got to find it. You see, it starts off down here. I'm going to go back up here, and you've got to look for it. There it is. A long variable character is characterized as memo field, and that's what they want for that. A memo field. Okay. And down here, that's the length of it. Well, I'm going to leave that because I have no idea what the length should be. They don't mention that. Okay. The salary is next, which is Y salary, and that is going to be what's that going to be? It's going to be decimal, but it's going to be special because salary is obviously going to be in a currency. So I'm going to go down here to where it says format example and click on the little 3 dots there. 4 dots, is it? 3 dots. Click on that and I'll throw up a dialog box. And this now gives me the opportunity to look for and find, there it is, currency. Now my country is UK, in fact Wales, and so I'm looking for the British pound. You've got a choice of places here. Annoyingly, Zambia's not there. But over here, where you look for the format, there is somewhere in there. I know, but I can't see it. Somewhere in there is the Zambian currency, kwacha. So you Zambian guys are going to have to look for that. Okay, so that's the currency set. Remember, I click this little thing here, whoops, to fire it up. It gives you field format, and that's where we choose currency. Right, and is that all of them? No, there's one more, department. Department and text var as they call it, variable character text. We don't want that. It's fixed at 25. I can tell you now, there wouldn't be many people would use fixed characters like this. 25, only in certain circumstances. So the length is 25. Okay, the next bit of the question says, please, it says select an appropriate primary key. So we got to look at all these numbers up here, and we've got to guess which one might be a primary key. That is the one which is not going to be duplicated. And of course, the answer is going to be staff number. So we go into the little button here, this square here, right click, not left click. If you left click, you get that. Right click, and you can go down here and you can see you can choose it as the primary key. And there's the little key. So that means it's the number in which this record of this employee will be based on. So your primary key is the key to the details of a particular person. Okay, that's it. That's almost it. So we're going to save it. It's going to ask us for the name. That little icon there is save, and the little green circle with the star simply means it hasn't been saved yet. As I always stress, don't call it table 1. When you create a table, you're going to want to make sure that it makes sense. And in fact, the question paper says save this as employee table. And annoyingly, it wants employee all in capitals. Completely inconsistent with anything else. Does it want an underscore? Yes, it does. Well, that's at least it's got something in common with the first part. Underscore table. T-A-B-L-E. Okay. I wouldn't have done it like that. I would have made sure that it was the same way of doing things all the way through. So I'd have had employee, capital E, employee, underscore table. Okay, so click OK, and it's creating it, and job done. You see the little green circle with the star on it is gone. So I'm going to close this now. So that gives us our employee table. The final part of this question is to click on it and to add records, add records to it. Now, once you click on it, you see these little things pop up. They were grayed out before. That is the open the database object, and that is where you start entering data. This one is where you edit the actual structure of the table. This one is where you delete the table, and this one is where you rename the table. So let's open the database for, before I do that, I'm not going to open it just yet because I've noticed over here, this is the database save button. We had the table set, we saved the table, now we're going to save the database because it's got the table in it. A little bit confusing, but whenever you see that little white circle with a green circle, with a white star in it, you know you've got to save it. Right, let's go over here and open this. So there we are, there's our table. And we know that this final part of this is to fill it in. I'll do the first one because there's one issue in here. EM, I guess that stands for employee, 01. Now, on the paper, it says EM space 01. and space 01 causes a problem with the staff number. So when you're doing this, skip the space. And the other thing that's annoying here, we've got first name and second name. That's what they wanted to do. But when they've laid the data out as a table in the question paper, they got surname first. So look out for that. So the surname is here, and that's the first thing on the paper. But of course, it's not on the paper. I don't like things like that because it can just cause students to panic should they get it wrong. And it's no. Oops, that's an O. That should be an O. And the first name, so I'm working back to front, is it? N-Y-A-M-B-E. Okay, there we go. Sex, well, this is a guy, it's male, and he comes from Mongo. I've never been to Mongo. I'd quite like to go. Mongo, I believe that's still in Siavonga province. Salary is, oh my goodness, 4500. That's kwacha, not pounds. He'd be very happy if it was pounds. And department, this guy is in accounts. Accounts, so there we are. I put the first record in, the first employee in. I'll stop this now and you can go on and add the other three. And we'll pick the next video up from there. So we've essentially done the first two parts, A and B, of the question. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope it makes sense. Let me know if there's any issues. My email address is howard@giaconda, giakonda.org.uk. Thanks for watching.